Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the latest edition of Wow, Lynch, Wow. Dedicated to filmmaker David Lynch and inspired by the triumphant return of Twin Peaks. A friendly warning to everyone who isn't caught up on all 11 episodes of the new Twin Peaks. There will be spoilers and they will begin shortly, so viewers and listeners be warned. In Part 11, we received confirmation that Shelley and Red are indeed an item. So Shelley seems to still have bad taste in men, but I won't be too hard on her yet for this one, because Red is a magician. But still, her track record of Leo, the scumbag version of Bobby, and this guy Red, this isn't a shining endorsement that she has good taste in men. This begs the question. Which Twin Peaks lady has the best taste in men? Right off the bat, we can eliminate a ton of women from consideration. Shelley, for starters, and her daughter Becky, too. Becky is married to scumbag Steven. That's all that really needs to be said here. And on that note, we can also eliminate Donna's sister, too, because she's also involved with scumbag Steven. Norma had a long relationship with a great guy like Big Ed, but she blew it and wound up marrying Hank instead. And Hank is a degenerate lowlife, so we can eliminate her from consideration. Norma's mother was married to Ernie, among others, and Ernie was another degenerate. Although in fairness, I think Ernie was a bit of a higher class of scumbag. Laura Palmer was involved with all sorts of guys, some good, some bad, but on the whole, she was with enough scumbags that we can safely remove her from consideration. Sylvia Horne, she was married to Ben, so she's out. Sarah Palmer was married to Leland, so nope, no dice there either. Lana was a gold digger who used her womanly wiles to prey on vulnerable old men, so we can count her out. Josie Packard was involved with Sheriff Harry Truman, so on the surface she initially appeared to have good taste in men, and I believe she genuinely cared about Harry on some level. But Josie was also involved with some other really shady guys, like Thomas Eckert and that dude who beat the shit out of Hank. Eileen Hayward was married to a great guy in Doc Hayward, but she had a fling with Ben Horne, and based on the scene where Ben tried to make things right, exposing the secret that he was Donna's father, let's just say Ben's action made it appear as if she was more than a one-night stand. You're out, Eileen. Catherine Martell married Pete, and Pete was one of the greatest guys in the history of Twin Peaks. If that's all I had to say about Catherine, she'd undoubtedly make my top 5. But since she regularly cheated on Pete with a lowlife like Ben Horne, then she's disqualified too, regardless of any ulterior motives. Plus, she treated Pete like shit, so fuck her. Donna was dating Mike Nelson, and she also had a dramatic and complicated quasi-relationship with James Hurley. And we all know that James was always cool, but he was never that cool, and he was always a bit of a drama queen to boot. Because of that, Donna lands outside the top 5. So now let's get on to the real contenders here. The countdown of the 5 women from Twin Peaks whom I believe had the best taste in men. Number 5, Audrey Horne. Audrey was in love with FBI Special Agent Dale Cooper. Audrey and Cooper actually had the greatest chemistry of any 2 characters in the history of Twin Peaks. Their relationship was platonic, and their forbidden love produced a magical dynamic. Audrey Horne should be at the top of this list, but then she went ahead and threw her virginity away to old Love 'em and Leave 'em Wheeler. Number 4, Lucy. Lucy is married to Andy, and in the entire time we've known Lucy, she only dated him and Dick. Andy and Dick are both class acts, so Lucy undoubtedly has tremendous taste in men. And in the end, she chose the better of her two options, as Andy still seems like a perfect fit for her after all these years. Dick might well be Wally Brando's biological father, but Andy is clearly the guy for Lucy. Number 3, Nadine. Nadine married Big Ed Hurley, and this is a shining endorsement of her taste in men. At this point in the story, I'm not sure if Nadine and Ed are still an item, but either way, there's no harm in her having a crush on another top lad like the good Dr. Jacoby. She was always dedicated to Ed, barring that spell where she dated Mike Nelson, but we won't hold that against her because he came out the better man from that. Strong showing for Nadine. Number 2, Annie. The only person she was ever involved with that we know of is FBI Special Agent Dale Cooper. That alone puts her head and shoulders above any of the other ladies mentioned so far. Annie never had a cheap fling on some sleazy jet with love 'em and leave 'em Wheeler. Fuck you, Wheeler. And number 1, Betty Briggs. No explanation necessary. Betty rocked then, and Betty rocks now, and for my worthless 2 cents, Betty undoubtedly has the best taste in men out of any woman in Twin Peaks. You rock, Betty. That's all I got. Hope you enjoyed. All this was meant to be in good fun, and for the record, I think all of the individual actors and actresses who helped bring these terrific characters to life that I mentioned in this episode, I think all of them are nothing short of fantastic. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great night, everyone.